All right, let's start with the big question that's been floating around since his release. Did Qiuyuan live up to the hype? Before launch, everyone was already calling him the next big echo skill damage buffer. And honestly, that prediction wasn't wrong. Qiuyuan turned out to be exactly that, an outstanding echo skill DMG buffer. His entire kit revolves around boosting echo skill output. And if that's your goal, you're not going to find a better option right now. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta sa inyong lahat? Echo skill damage scaling units are strong. We are talking about Phrolova, for crying out loud. However, it's worth noting that this kind of buffing is still a pretty narrow niche. There are only a handful of units who actually benefit from it, specifically Phrolova and Galbrena. The upside is that both of those characters are absolute powerhouses at the moment, and Qiuyuan elevates them even further. The downside? His value is directly tied to their relevance. As long as Phrolova and Galbrena remain meta staples, and Kuro continues to add units that scale or split scale with echo skills, Qiuyuan will continue to shine. But the second they fall off, his role might shrink alongside them. The good news is that Qiuyuan isn't restricted to echo skill damage scaling units. You can easily slot him into teams that benefit from short bursts of crit buffs and bonus damage over a 6 to 8 second window. He integrates smoothly into mono-arrow compositions and pairs naturally with arrow resonators like Cartethia, Yuno, Siakona, and Qiuyuan. He also provides excellent crit support for Augusta, making her rotations feel noticeably sharper and more consistent even without Shorekeeper. Just a quick word, getting a massive 24% discount on Loot Bar is a great way to keep your top-ups cheap and safe. Loot Bar offers cheaper than in-game top-ups, and if you use my link in the description, you can get an extra 10% off your first Lunite subscription, Battle Pass, or refill purchase. Trusted by gacha fans for their reliability and customer service, they're rated near perfect on Trustpilot. DIY mobile top-up means you get your discounts without giving your password. I know because I use them. So if you're planning to pull, this might just be your wallet's best friend. Hit that link, save big, and help support the channel. Now back to the video. Now, let's talk about his damage profile. At base, or what players call S0, Qiuyuan doesn't hit particularly hard. I mean, not at the same level as other DPS units in the game, but it is consistent, providing you with around 400k for a small 6 to 8 second window. It's serviceable, but it's not the reason you pull him. At that stage, his main appeal is as a support buffer. But once you start unlocking his sequences, especially S3, that's when things change. At S3, he transitions from being purely a support to a legitimate hybrid DPS. His numbers climb sharply, and his rotations start feeling powerful and responsive. You can absolutely main him from that point onward. He feels smooth, strong, and surprisingly fun. At S6, of course, he goes even further beyond, delivering competitive DPS for someone who wasn't originally designed for that role. Still, don't expect him to outperform dedicated DPS units like Yuno or Brant. He's more of a high-performance hybrid rather than a straight-up damage dealer. If you're wondering what kind of setups complement him best, Qiuyuan pairs beautifully with Teffy on Static Mist or Yuno. Both setups enhance his heavy attacks and give him the flexibility to function as a burst-heavy hybrid. Personally, I found the Yuno synergy the most satisfying. It's fluid and rewards timing, which fits Qiuyuan's kit perfectly. That said, his S1 and S2 don't transform him into a DPS overnight. S1 adds some useful crit rate, and S2 gives support boosts, but it's really S3 where everything clicks. So let's revisit those early claims about him being perfect for Phrolova. That one still holds up. He's practically designed to be her best third-slot partner. His multiple echo skill activations sync perfectly with Phrolova's enhanced attack triggers, while she gives him a juicy 25% heavy damage buff through her outro. Together, they form one of the most efficient synergies in the current game. If you main Phrolova, Qiuyuan isn't just a good investment, he's a phenomenal one. As for Galbrena, it's a bit more complicated. Qiuyuan is technically her best-in-slot support, but that doesn't necessarily make him essential. If you already have a highly built Lupa, you might not feel the need to grab him. Lupa can still provide solid performance, especially if you've invested heavily in your fusion lineup. However, if you don't have those tools or you're starting fresh, Qiuyuan's value skyrockets because he delivers high performance without the steep resource cost of building an entire fusion lineup. So is he the best in slot for Galbrena? Yes. Is he mandatory? Not really. You can live without him, but he makes life easier. Let's go back to the topic of damage. Early impressions pegged him as low damage, and that's true up to about S2. But once you hit S3 and beyond, his numbers get impressive. His heavy attack scaling synergizes perfectly with his buffs, making him a strong contender among hybrid DPS setups. You could even make a case for him as a full DPS if you're willing to invest, though it's more of a passion project than a meta strategy. His flexibility does take a hit at lower sequences, though. Unlike Brant or who brings substantial personal damage even at S0, Qiuyuan's early performance is more dependent on team synergy than individual output. Now, what about his long-term viability? The truth is, Qiuyuan's shelf life heavily depends on Phrolova and Galbrena staying relevant. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Many support units in Wuthering Waves have enjoyed long-term relevance because their partners stayed strong. Look at Cantarella, for example. She stayed valuable for ages because she consistently had top-tier partners to enable. And whoever you pair with Phrolova, may it be Augusta, Camellia, Jinshi, Qiuyuan, or even Brant, you can bet your ass that Cantarella will be there to provide top-tier support. Qiuyuan fits that same mold. As long as the developers don't drastically shift the meta, he's likely to remain a valuable pick for months to come. There's also the argument that he's replaceable, and yes, technically he is. You could substitute him with Shorekeeper or Roccia in some setups, but the difference in performance is significant. Those alternatives work, but they're not ideal. Unless you already own them and have them built, Qiuyuan brings more value to your roster overall. For Phrolova teams in particular, there's really no replacement that can match his consistency and damage amplification. So where does that leave us in the grand scheme of the meta? Qiuyuan currently sits in a very comfortable position. He's strong, flexible, and synergizes perfectly with two of the best DPS units in the game. He's not a universal support like but within his niche, he's exceptional. Will he always stay this relevant? Probably not forever. Once we start getting new DPS characters who don't rely on echo skill damage scaling, his appeal might start to fade. But for now, and likely for several banners to come, he's easily one of the most valuable additions you can make to your roster. In summary, Qiuyuan is exactly what he promised to be, a powerhouse echo skill buffer with the potential to double as a hybrid DPS for those willing to invest. He's niche, yes, but incredibly effective within that niche. Phrolova mains should absolutely go for him, and Galbrena users will find plenty of value too. Even casual players will benefit from his flexibility and the sheer boost he provides to echo skill-reliant teams. Just don't expect him to carry your account solo. He's a specialist, a very strong one, but still a specialist. And that's the beauty of Qiuyuan. He's not a flashy damage dealer or a universal team crutch. He's a well-designed, reliable enabler who enhances the best and makes great teams even better. Whether you're in it for his synergy, his scaling, or yes, even his fluffy hair, Qiuyuan is here to stay, for now at least. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for massive damage buffs. Ring the bell if you want to receive even greater gacha blessings. Thank you so much for watching, maraming salamat po, and I will see you in the next video drop. Goodbye.